Hi, Dr. Reagan Robertson, CCO of Productive Dentist Academy here, and I have a question for you. Are you finding it hard to get your team aligned to your vision, but you know you deserve growth just like everybody else? That's why we've created the PDA Productivity Workshop. For nearly 20 years, PDA workshops have helped dentists just like you align their teams, get control of scheduling, and create productive practices that they love walking into every day. Just imagine how you will feel when you know your schedule is productive, your systems are humming, and your team is aligned to your vision. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy. We can help. Visit productivedentist.com/workshop. That's productivedentist.com/workshop to secure your seats now.
The why is important because marketing is about connection. And if there's no connection, if a patient can't trust you or doesn't feel like you're a safe place to go, they're not going to schedule an appointment. They're not going to move forward with treatment. So really it comes down to, they need to know who you are and why you can help them.
Welcome to the Everyday Practices Podcast. I'm Reagan Robertson, and my co-host, Dr. Chad Johnson, and I are on a mission to share the stories of everyday dentists who generate extraordinary results using practical, proven methods you can take right into your own dental practice. If you're ready to elevate patient care and produce results that are anything but ordinary, buckle up and listen in. Welcome to Everyday Practices. I am your host, Reagan Robertson, here faithfully with you as always. My co-host, Dr. Chad Johnson, would be here with us, but as you're going to hear with some behind the scenes footage, he is pulling wisdom teeth right now, thanks to the marketing efforts of our guest and speaker today, Sara Hansen, who is a marketing consultant with PDA. Welcome to the show, Sara.
Thank you, Reagan. I love being here.
I love it when you are here. This is your second time being on Everyday Practices, right?
Third.
Oh, third. It's your third?
Time.
Oh
yes.
my gosh. Well, okay. So that's an indicator of how much I enjoy talking with you and Chad enjoys talking with you.
I know. Maybe I should be like the substitute co-host or something when someone's out of town. How about that?
Ooh, the seed hath been planted, Sara. I will remember this.
Okay.
It's such a joy to have you on because one, we're both marketing geeks, so it's really fun to geek out. And anybody who's listening, dentist or not, you can apply the marketing expertise that Sara brings into PDA and brings out to all of our doctors. We recently just wrapped up with a productivity workshop down in Texas, and authentic marketing is the topic of one of the days. Sara and I are both presenters during that day, and that's exactly why I invited her to be on the podcast this week with us, is to share and give you a kind of a preview of what we end up talking about and things that you can put into action right away. You can look in your own marketing collateral and kind of ask yourself, am I showing up authentically, and why does that matter? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And I think you're going to get a twofer in this. We're going to break this into 2 episodes because there's just so much goodness to share, right, Sara?
There is so much goodness. So you're in for a treat.
So one of the things that you and I talk about a lot is there's a difference between marketing tactics. So what pieces you engage in to get your message out. And then there's a huge difference between marketing tactics and marketing strategy. And Sara, you and I have talked about listeners really focusing on the how to deliver that message. And we forget to focus on the why. Sara, why is the why important when it comes to marketing yourself?
Yeah, the why is important because marketing is about connection. And if there's no connection, if a patient can't trust you or doesn't feel like you're a safe place to go, they're not going to schedule an appointment. They're not going to move forward with treatment. So really it comes down to, they need to know who you are and why you can help them.
Let's dive into the who you are element. I really like that piece because the surface level is I'm a dentist.
Yes.
I'm a dentist and a business owner. So where do we go from there? What else matters in that who?
Well, within the WHO, there's usually a reason why they have chosen to be in dentistry. Reagan, we've worked with many doctors that have amazing stories of their own childhood trauma, or, things that have come from wanting to then give back to their patients. And those stories are critical to really telling the story about how they can help patients. So, we're all in dentistry to help people, really. That's why we're here. We like it. We serve those. We help give them better smiles and better lives. But there really is a deeper component, and this is where it gets a little bit fun for you and I to discover what that is. So why did you decide to do this, and how do you want patients to feel, when they come to see you, and why is that important to you?
Oh my goodness, that is a great exercise. You've talked about being a champion.
Yes.
A champion
Yes.
for something within, and how
Yes.
and how to dig. How do you help people kind of figure out what they're a champion for? And I think that really helps in that, maybe that secondary question of who I am. I'm a dentist,
Yeah.
but what else am I? Maybe I didn't have a childhood trauma. So what am I a champion for? How do you help people discover that?
Yeah. So really the first step is to figure out, what are you passionate about? When you show up to work and you look at your schedule every day, what is it that brings you joy? What do you love to do? What are you telling your team? Hey, today we have this on the schedule and I'm really excited about it. Every doctor is different and everything that they do is different. So really it's figuring out what you're passionate about. And what's interesting is we've interviewed so many people, not we, you, but here at Productive Dentist Academy, there's been so many great interviews. And even, Dr. Lervik, she talked about her passion was baby frenectomies, and that came from her story. And, really, there's so many things that you can be passionate about within the realm. It just doesn't have to be implants or, endo or whatever that is. There really is so much more to that. And that's where it gets fun.
There is a spark in the eyes and the lights of people when you hear, that they're doing a service that they really love doing. So
Yeah.
for listeners who didn't catch Chad as he's doing wisdom teeth right now, his eyes were like sparkling, and he's like, I get to go do wisdom teeth. Obviously he must like doing it. And so it really does need to be expressed that there are obviously different services that we like doing more than others, and
Yes.
championing that is important. A lot of times, though, we say it's not about you, it's about the patient, and it's about the
Yes.
patient experience. So, Sara, why does it matter? Why does it matter that I have a story to tell? Like Bridget Lervik, for example. Okay, she likes frenectomies. How does that matter to me as a patient? How is that used to kind of attract me into the practice?
Well, I'm glad that you brought her up, because she's a great example of her as a mother, not even a dentist, as a mother. She had a need, and there was really no one at that time that she heard about to help her with this need until, she finally found it. So really, each of us have something that we need support with, we need help with, and that's where you're looking for that expert, or you're looking for that champion to help you with that. And I think, for the example of Chad, he saw it was twofold with him with the wisdom teeth. So I'll give you a little background about how this all came to be with his campaign. It's really fun. So one is he loves to do wisdom teeth because he thinks it's fun. It, breaks up his day. And, but then he also found that there was a need. So how it gets fun is he said to me one day, he's like, hey, Sara, I've been hearing, throughout my community and through the grapevine that there's a lot of people that are waiting weeks to get in to dentists to get their teeth extracted. And you know how painful that can be and stuff like that. So what can we do to really spread the word that, hey, if you call us, we can get you in within 24 hours, even if it's not the same day, the next day, and we'll help get you out of pain and stuff like that. So we created an entire campaign for him. It was so fun. And now he's doing wisdom teeth today. So it's great because, again, there's a market or, a group of patients that they're in pain, they need their teeth extracted, and they can't wait 2 weeks to get in. And so what's great is we aligned with where the need in his community was, and something that he was passionate about doing. And so then it just really brings the whole campaign together. And then, of course, on our end, we do create the tactics, right? We create the campaign and how it's going to look, but the why and how it started really came from Chad. He saw the need, and then we were able to align with that.
Oh my gosh. You spoke earlier about building trust, how important it is to
Yeah.
build trust. And I know from a new patient's perspective, obviously that's critical. I don't want to entrust my health with someone that I don't trust. So pairing that up with wisdom teeth, what was your angle and positioning on it? How did you advertise or really let the community know that he was open and ready for business with wisdom teeth?
Yeah, so his was fun. We actually created kind of a cartoon type campaign that we were able to blast on social media for him and his digital advertising. But first, we started with the educational part. Why do we have wisdom teeth? A lot of patients call and ask that. Do I really need to get them taken out? Why are they important? So we started with the educational component. Once they have an understanding of why something's important to do, then they're like, oh, well, then I should get that taken out, right? Um, and so then we were able to pair that in with Dr. Chad. Why come to him? Well, because he's here to get you in and out of pain as soon as possible. He's also here because he understands what it's like, to go through these type of experiences. So it's fun to build campaigns around that trust because really that's what it is. We're all looking to be supported somehow with a need within oral health. And that's where we try to identify what that need is for those patients. And we work a campaign around that need.
I
So
wonder if Chad's had his wisdom teeth out.
I
We'll
think he has.
we'll have to ask him that because he was sharing some details with that. I know that a big portion of that building trust is connecting with people and getting on that empathetic level.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think that's what I saw just in the conversation quickly with Chad for 2 seconds. Gonna go do wisdom teeth. Really excited about it. Sorry we can't do an interview today because I've got to go thanks to my marketing working on
Yeah.
that. Tell me, how are you tracking that type of information? So I mean, he said definitively, like, thanks to PDA's marketing, I know I'm getting
Yeah.
the wisdom teeth patients. So
Yeah.
how long did it take to set that up, execute it, and are you tracking those results so that you know for sure it's from your efforts?
Yes, yes, absolutely. We track everything. So, with all the different campaigns out there, it becomes very overwhelming for doctors. There's so many choices. And so, usually, people do one of two things. One is they throw a bunch of money at a campaign and hope it works, or two, they throw up their hands and say, marketing just doesn't work. I'm done with it.
Right.
So, this is where I come in. What we like to do at Productive Dentist Academy is, for example, when Chad came to us and said, hey, I really would like to have more wisdom teeth come into my practice. I see that there's a need in the community. How can we best market that? Then what we do is we then kind of take a look at who's the demographics that we're looking at. How do we best, align with this? But what we always do is I will never ever just throw money at a campaign and hope it works. That's not good marketing. We need to know that there's an opportunity within the market first. And if there is, which there was for Chad, then we align with that. But what's really great is that I meet with Chad a lot. I work with his admin team. And we actually track the production that comes into the practice through referral sources. We track the phone calls that are coming in. I want to know the difference between existing patients and new patients. A lot of times I get all the data that comes from those phone calls because I want to hear the keywords that they're saying. The keywords are important to those phone calls because that's the messaging that those patients are hearing. And if that's aligning with what Dr. Chad wants to attract, then hey, I know we are golden, right? If for some reason they're calling and they're asking a bunch of questions about the campaign, well, so when he's talking about this, what does that mean? I know we're misaligned somewhere. So we do that with all of our campaigns because again, we want to make sure that that branding is matching with the patients that he wants to attract. We're attracting the right patients for him. It's not about volume all the time. It's about how do we attract the right patients for you. And then Chad and I meet and we go over the analytics. That's my job. We go over the campaign results. We go over the production that's coming. And so it's great because he knows a solid ROI is coming from each of these campaigns and we have the data to prove it. So no longer are we hoping and crossing our fingers that a campaign works. Now we know, hey, our marketing is successful.
I am blown away by that. I didn't know that I learned something new in that I
Yeah.
didn't realize that you're listening for keywords on the phone. And then if something isn't hitting quite right, if I heard you correctly, you go in and revise the campaign. So it's important to set it up how you think it's going to go, test it and refine it as necessary.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And that's why, we go back to what we were first talking about in the beginning. What are you wanting? What's important to you for your practice? How can we spread your passion? What is it that you're really looking to attract? Because then that allows me to really get in line with the team. It allows me to get in line with everything. And then we create campaigns so that when a patient hears you or sees your brand, when they actually call the practice, they hear that same messaging. And then when they come to the practice, they hear the same messaging. We want it to be congruent all the way through.
Wow. You have really illustrated, I think, why the why is important. So knowing who you are, knowing what brought you to dentistry is really important so that you can be a champion.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Everyday Practices Podcast. Chad and I are here every week thanks to our community of listeners just like you, and we'd love your help. It would mean the world if you can help spread the word by sharing this episode with a fellow dentist and leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. Do you have an extraordinary story you'd like to share or feedback on how we can make this podcast even more awesome? Drop us an email at podcast@productivedentist.com. And don't forget to check out our other podcasts from Productive Dentist Academy at productivedentist.com/podcasts. See you next week.